so I thought about that. I spent most of my career in the valley of death, actually, because you know it takes a while to get across it, and I've crossed it. I've crossed it 6 times successfully.
No compass, I guess.
There's no compass, no. But your market vision is your compass. And Greg, it's funny, but every one of those ideas failed in order for it to become successful. And you know, it's only when you're halfway across the valley of death and you're running out of food and water, or in the startup's case, you can see you're going to run out of money at the end of the quarter. Mate, running out of money at the end of the quarter is a marvelous motivator. I mean, there's nothing gets you focused like that kind of crisis. And I sort of, you know, the first time it happened, I thought, oh, geez, this is not much fun. But we got through. You know, the second time it happened, I thought, oh, it's still not much fun, but I know what to do. After the third time, I thought, hang on, I'm seeing a pattern here. You know, and after the 6th time, I'm absolutely convinced that a startup has to have a near-death experience in order for it to be successful. And what's happening when you see that is the market vision is probably right at a high level, but you've missed something. You've got something not quite right, and it's not working. And facing that failure point makes you really look hard at hold the mirror up at yourself, look really hard at what have I missed, what have I got wrong, and it's that process where you iterate and you change the product a little bit, you change your vision a little bit, and that's what usually nails it. Is that crisis makes you change. And I mentioned Steve Blank before. So Steve realized this. When you know how internet companies do A/B testing, so they put up a website and they may change the font and the color and they may change 100 things a day in the website, just little micro tweaks, and they measure the data and they're iterating the product to optimize it, to get a better return, to get better revenue, get better sales, and you can do that iteration in digital companies really, really efficiently. What they're doing when they're doing that tweaking is they're tweaking their market vision. They're learning about the market and they're changing their trajectory. They're changing their vision. Now, imagine trying to do that with a hardware company, right? Like, mate, when we did the medical light, when we did Iridex, you used to have to design the product, and then it took 6 months to get the plastics made, the injection molding, the PC boards, all that, or you had to test it. So you're looking at a year to iterate a physical product. So the reason market vision is so important is you don't have that year. So you've got to design the product in your head, and then go test it with the market. And when you've got the product in the market, you've got to get the data from it to tell you what you got wrong, so you can keep iterating it, keep making it better until you eventually nail it. And when you do nail it, nobody, like your competitors, fall far behind, if there were any to start with. I always like companies where you were the first. You know, you created it and you had no competitors, although they were chasing you, because it's a lot easier to be successful when that happens. But that's the reason market vision is so important. This ability to keep reading the market, keep understanding it, and your customers are part of that story. They can tell you what they know, but they can't tell you what product to build. So they're part of the solution, but it's more than that. It's how you analyze the market, it's how you look into the future, it's how you think. And Apple had this saying, think different. You know, innovators are people who think really, really differently about the future. They can see a future that other people can't. But then they're able to go really deep and into detail to figure out how to make it happen. And that's what a real entrepreneur does. You know, they're not out giving speeches. They're not on the stage being a celebrity. They're learning the market, and then they're doing the hard yards to actually figure out how to make it happen.